Because what she started doing was leaning towards the identity politics, which is like, oh, I'm a woman. Instead of putting your progressive stuff on the front, saying this is who I am, standing on your values, you put that kind of in the back. You talk about it less. You kind of walk away from Medicare for all, and then you start talking about I'm a woman and we should have a woman president. Yes, we should have a woman president, but fucking Michelle Bachmann shouldn't be president. Fucking Sarah Palin shouldn't be president. Just because they're a woman don't mean shit. I'm sorry, it doesn't mean shit, or it means very little. Their policy means more. Period. Policy is what saves people, not your fucking gender. Stop fucking playing. But anyway, I'm not against identity politics. I do think that there is space for you to say that a black person needs to be, represent black people. That makes sense. The identity of a person representing a constituency is important, but it's only so important. What you're gonna fucking do, what your plans are more important.
Take our black asses out of here. Won't you take our black asses out of here?
All right, looks like it's time to go to war. All right, so real talk. Super Tuesday passed. I'm recording this video on Thursday after Super Tuesday. Wanted to some more reporting and a couple more things to happen before I did my piece covering Super Tuesday. So here it is. And yeah, as earlier stated, it's time for war. And let me explain why. Super Tuesday, I did a little prediction on Super Tuesday, and I expected, based on polling, Bernie to win. However, I did discuss the fact that 72 hours before Super Tuesday, you had the establishment basically having everybody drop out. Pete Buttigieg dropped out. Bye, Buttigieg. I'm going to miss you a little bit just because it's fun to make fun of your name. And because, it's cathartic for me. Fuck a Buttigieg, just cuts, right? But he's out. You have, who else? Amy Klobuchar, she dropped out. And even fucking Beto O'Rourke, who dropped out years ago, I went over this. He's a congressperson from Texas that ran for Senate. Everyone loved him. He ran for president, and he didn't even make it, 3 months or so. He dropped out early. Even he came out in Texas and endorsed Biden. Now, the reason why all of these people dropped out to endorse Biden was so that the establishment can make sure that they get their votes in a row and they don't split that moderate vote. Now, I said in my video on Super Tuesday, before Super Tuesday happened, I did mention that we really don't know. A lot of things are up in the air because, again, the establishment made these last minute adjustments and just got shit and just kind of skewed everything, and so it so turns out that out of 14 states that went on Super Tuesday, Bernie won 4, Biden won 10. So, as you know, I'm a Bernie supporter, so that's not good news to me. Actually, fucking Super Tuesday really sucked. Not only did Bernie get his ass whooped, but my cat died, which is random, but rest in peace to Tussin. Rest in peace to Tussin. But yeah, so it was a weird day for me. But 17 years old, the cat was really old. But anyway, I miss her, and but we got to fight on, right? Bernie still has a shot, and that's really why I'm doing this piece. What I told you is that Super Tuesday will determine whether Bernie gets a plurality of votes or if he gets a majority of votes. We wanted to get the majority, but now he did so poorly on Super Tuesday that we're in a position where he might not even get a plurality, depending on how the next couple of states go. But I don't want you guys to get down on this, right? Because I'm not down. I'm not down at all. We're fighting. We're going to fight this shit the fuck out. I'm digging my heels in as far as my support for Bernie. I'm going to do some more calling into some of these states and, getting the word out that I support Bernie and he's the right candidate. So, yeah, Bernie lost the majority of the states. He lost in states that he was expected to win in. Joe Biden, utterly trounced. I fuck up words a lot. Biden utterly killed him in a lot of states that we didn't really expect. Like, for instance, Massachusetts. Massachusetts polling was showing that it was between Bernie and Biden and Bernie and Elizabeth Warren. Massachusetts, which is Elizabeth Warren's state, polling was showing that him and her were tied and Bernie had an edge. But Biden came out of nowhere and he got fucking 33%. of the vote, and Bernie got 26.7, and Elizabeth Warren got 21. She got third place in her own state. It's sad. And let's do some more news on Elizabeth Warren. Today, I got the word that Elizabeth Warren dropped out of the race, and she didn't endorse anybody. Bernie is making a play for her endorsement, and so is Biden. So, this is important because when you look at some of the exit polling and like some of the data that came out of Super Tuesday, the reason why Bernie lost, he's losing support amongst the white rural vote. And this is the illest thing because in 2016 he was killing it with white rural voters, and but this year he's kind of lost that pull for some reason. I really can't account for that. I don't know why. I really don't know why. But they were saying in 2016 that he didn't do good with colored people. Now he's doing way better with the Latin American community. The Latin American community gave him California. And he killed in California. Bernie did really. It's one of the states Bernie won on Super Tuesday. Did a really good job. Killed it on Super Tuesday in California, and it's because of the Latin American vote. So he's doing well now, or a little better with colored people, except for blacks. But he's losing that white rural vote, and also there's a community of suburban voters, right? And I want to talk about this because this is interesting. Those are people that would support maybe a Pete Buttigieg. That was Pete Buttigieg's main constituents, right? Like kind of this suburban kind of a slightly well-off, higher educated, right? Buttigieg had that group, and at one time Elizabeth Warren had that group. So that group was kind of looking around for someone to go to. They didn't really feel Biden. I guess they didn't like Bernie because Bernie's economic populism, I think, scares that class of people, right? They're just kind of like off put by it. Because again, it's not that they're rich per se, but they're doing okay, and I think that they don't want to. They're concerned about shaking the system and changing things too much because they're doing pretty damn good. So that voter is scared of Bernie, I think, and you saw that voter came out in crazy numbers for Biden on Super Tuesday. The black vote, like he got 63% of the black vote in Virginia, 70-something% of the black vote in South Carolina. Biden is killing with older black folks, and I don't have a lot, and that's why I kind of wanted to wait a little bit to get more information before I did this piece. But I don't really have a lot of the answers to the questions that came in my head when I was watching the results on Super Tuesday. I don't have a lot of answers, to be honest. But I do know that Elizabeth Warren, and I really want to talk about her. She dropped out today, and I think that she should endorse Bernie. Elizabeth Warren has a lot of good media. She gets good media. Not only that, but she does decent with that suburban vote, that Bernie, that populace of people that are scared of Bernie, that suburban vote that I was talking about. She does pretty good with them. So if she endorses Bernie, it might not help much, but I think it'll help some. And right now, Bernie needs all the help he can get. So as of the end of Super Tuesday, the votes in California take a long time to come in. We'll get the final percentage, the final numbers on California maybe a week from now. But Biden and Bernie are pretty much tied. Biden probably has maybe about 40 more electoral votes, and we're going all the way down to 1,900. That's the number that you have to get of not electoral votes, of delegates. You have to get 1,900 pledged delegates in order to win, and right now they're tied. So it's literally kind of like a new race, like restart. Let's go. Let's strategize. Find out what we got to do to get back this rural vote. Find out what we got to do to try to attempt to get this suburban vote, that those people that are scared of Bernie's message, and get them on board. And I think Elizabeth Warren endorsing Bernie would go a long way towards that. I kind of want to talk a little bit about Elizabeth Warren's past and how the way I see her as a politician, with her dropping out. So Elizabeth Warren started the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that literally returned $1 billion to average consumers that was stolen from them by various financial institutions. Elizabeth Warren often takes to task a lot of those the banksters that do illegal shit, that do fucked up shit. And there's a lot of footage of her in Senate hearings, grilling their ass and fucking their whole shit up, making them look down at their shoes and be all depressed and shit because she's reaming them, and she's right. And I say that to say she has a great progressive bona fides. Is that word bona fides or bona fides? I don't know. But bona fide sounds stupid, and bona fides sounds kind of stupid too. I might use a new word, but I can't think of one. So bona fides fides. She has a lot of progressive bona fides fides, right? And I hold on to that. A lot of progressives are mad at her because she didn't endorse Bernie in 2016. Instead, she endorsed Hillary, which is not the progressive thing to do because Hillary's not a progressive. She's a centrist. She says that herself. So I'm not dissing her. I'm saying what she says. But then again, she's a fucking liar. She says a lot of shit. But anyway, that's another story. She Elizabeth Warren has a mixed history, and as far as her real determination for the cause that she claims to be for. For instance, she talks about political corruption. She doesn't take any political PAC money. But before Super Tuesday, she actually started taking Super PAC money. She took about $12 million in Super PACs that were funding ads that were going at Bernie, that were going at that were basically hurting Bernie's chances because she was doing so poorly. The most she would do is take votes from Bernie. So why did she put herself in that position where she'd actually be a person that would siphon off votes from Bernie? I don't know. And this is what I mean. It's like with Elizabeth Warren, it's like she's a fighter for the right issue because when you look at her history, it dictates that. But she just doesn't have good political instincts. Like for instance, when she came in and she started the race, if you look at where she was leading the field back in fall. I don't know if you remember that. In the fall, what was it late summer, fall? She was leading the field because she was leaning into those progressive bona fides fides. She was leaning into them. She was saying, "I'm with Bernie on Medicare for all." You know, she was saying, "Let's do a wealth tax," and she had all these ideas. She was the plan lady. Remember, like I got a plan for that. That was her whole thing, and that's when she started busting off, popping off. And then what did she do? She got Hillary Clinton staffers to work on her campaign. She got Obama staffers to work on her campaign. And then they pretty much tanked her campaign. Because what she started doing was leaning towards the identity politics. Which is like, oh, I'm a woman. Instead of putting your progressive stuff on the front, saying this is who I am, standing on your values, you put that kind of in the back, you talk about it less, you kind of walk away from Medicare for all, and then you start talking about I'm a woman and we should have a woman president. Yes, we should have a woman president. But fucking Michelle Bachmann shouldn't be president. Fucking Sarah Palin shouldn't be president. Just because they're a woman don't mean shit. I'm sorry, it doesn't mean shit. Or it means very little. Their policy means more. Period. Policy is what saves people, not your fucking gender. Stop fucking playing. But anyway, I'm not against identity politics. I do think that there is space for you to say that a black person needs to be, represent black people. That makes sense. The identity of a person representing a constituency is important. But it's only so important. What you're gonna fucking do, what your plans are more important. And when she put her plans on the front and started talking about them, she was coasting in the polls. She was doing a thing. And then she started leaning on that identity nonsense and she started fucking failing. But anyway, and that's my thing with Elizabeth Warren. I'm weird on her. I'm not super sold, but at this position, at this juncture, she can do something for the progressive movement. She can support Bernie, and we'll just go after the establishment. Now we have two fighters. We have one representing the establishment, one representing it's clear now. The lines are drawn. Get in line and fight. That's where we are right now. Dig your trench, and I'm talking to everyone. Elizabeth Warren, Bernie. If you're a progressive, if you're on the side of this movement. Now is the time to fight. Now is the time to fight. The game started over. We're tied. Now, what are we gonna do? Let's go. And I want to talk about more moves that the establishment is making in order to try to fuck with Bernie. In 2016, Bernie won Michigan. He had a come-from-behind victory of epic proportions that has never been seen in politics. Polling had him down 20% to Hillary Clinton in 2016. That brother won by like 2 or 3 points. So he had like a 23 or 24 point swing and won the election in Michigan. The establishment is aware of that. Michigan comes up next Tuesday. So you know what they did? They told the governor of Michigan to fall in line with Bernie. And she went on MSNBC or one of these fucking news stations. I forget her name because it's not important. Fuck that motherfucker. I just say it like that. And she went on one of those stations and said, oh, she supports Biden. So this is what the establishment is doing. They're getting their establishment pawns in order to take on, to try to lessen Bernie's chances of winning. The reason why it's important that they take out Michigan is because Michigan has a decent amount of delegates. And they know Bernie won last time, so they're scared, they running. And this is what the establishment is doing. And my message that I want to get across this week: Bernie didn't do good on Super Tuesday. He didn't. But he's been doing so well before that right now we're just about even. So it's a new game. Think about it like a new game. We're rolling the ball out again. Let's go again. And we're not gonna start. We're not gonna stop. We're gonna fight. Because that's what the fuck else we gotta do. Excuse the fake Psycho Bunny shirt, by the way. And rest in peace to Tussin. I'm out of here.
Won't you come save us, catch up and kill all these crackers? Come save us.